Shelton. 2018, and if it wasn't for the grace of God, we would not be here today. We serve a great God, and I believe that God has something absolutely marvelous in store for you in 2018, and I believe that God wants you to be prepared, and that's why we started this. It was supposed to be just one message, but it's hard to preach one message when you start to do research and you see, you know what, that's too much to give at one time. They're going to check out, so let me break it down at least into two messages. And so supposedly it was a one-part message, and now it's supposedly two parts. And so we'll see what the Lord does, but it's supposedly two parts. And the message series is really about being prepared for what's next. And hopefully all of us have something next that we're preparing for, something next, right? If you don't have anything next that you're looking forward to, it kind of puts you in a hopeless situation. You kind of feel a sense of hopelessness. But all of us, and we talked about this last week, perhaps what's next for you is a new job. And I'm not going to go through all of these, but maybe you're starting a job for the first time if you're young, or maybe you're transitioning from one job to the next job, or maybe a new relationship. Maybe God has a new relationship in store for you in 2018. Maybe it's not in 2018, but maybe the next big thing for you is a new relationship, or retirement, or becoming a foster parent. But there's always something that you and I are looking next towards. We're looking forward to something next. And as I pointed out to you guys last week, it's important as we prepare for what's next, whether it's in 2018 or whether it's 3 or 4 years down the line, it's important that we keep in mind that wherever we go, as we're packing up our things and preparing to move towards whatever God has next in store for us, that wherever we go, we are taking us with us. That's important. Wherever you and I go, we're taking us with us. And so it's not one of those things where, you know what, in 2018, all of a sudden things are going to click for me and everything is going to be right because it's a new year. It doesn't work like that. If you have a bad attitude in 2017 and you don't make a change in 2017, don't expect to have a good attitude in 2018. It doesn't work like that. Wherever you go, you're taking you with you. The other thing that we pointed out, and it's important that we keep this in mind as we're preparing for what's next, knowing what's next does not equate to being prepared for what's next, right? I can know for sure that I have a test on Friday, but that does not mean that I'm prepared for the test that I have on Friday. And so today, we're going to look at one verse. It's just one verse that we're going to look at. One verse in the book of Proverbs that we're going to look at. And in this verse, it paints a picture, almost like a movie. I have this creative mind. Like when I look at the Bible, especially Hebrew poetry like Proverbs, I kind of picture a movie. And this is like a movie, and there are characters in this movie. And these characters represent you or I, or you and I. And it's important that we identify ourselves as we look at these characters. But this particular verse should really grab your attention when it comes to being prepared or preparing yourself for what's next. All right? So there are two characters that the writer of Proverbs paints a picture for us. One character is the prudent. And so we're going to call this character Mr. Prudent. But I told you guys there are two characters, right? And so there's another character, and this character is the simpleton. And so we're going to call this character Mr. Simpleton, right? Are you guys with me? Two characters face similar or the same circumstances. Similar or the same circumstances. That if I keep spending money this way, if I keep eating this type of food, if I keep hanging with these people, if I continue to move forward in this relationship. And so these two people are faced with similar circumstances, but they respond radically different. Mr. Prudent takes refuge. And as a result of Mr. Prudent taking refuge, Mr. Prudent finds safety. Can somebody say he found safety? Safety is what you want in 2018. On the other hand, in contrast to Mr. Prudent, Mr. Simpleton keeps going. In spite of the danger, he keeps going. And look at the results. He pays the price. He pays dearly. And this is important because none of us are immune from what happened to Mr. Simpleton. We've all seen very, very smart people do some very, very dumb things. And so we're going to look at this verse in the book of Proverbs. For those of you that don't know, a proverb is a short, pithy statement that is generally true. Not always, but it's generally true. And so in the Bible, we have a whole book of Proverbs. And if you have never done this, I encourage you to do this. Go through the book of Proverbs, one chapter a day for 30 days. If there are 31 days in a month, you can take a chapter per day and finish the book of Proverbs in 1 month. When you're looking at the book of Proverbs, remember I told you these are short, pithy statements that are generally true. It's not like reading one entire story as you're reading the chapter or as you're reading the book of Proverbs. Sometimes you'll find one verse and then the next verse doesn't even seem like it's connected to the previous verse or the following verse. And so you can take one verse, like the one verse that we're going to look at today, and you can build a whole message, you can build a whole story, you can build a whole lesson. It's almost like the writer of Proverbs, Solomon, is sitting down with his son, or imagine, if you will, scenes of a movie. You go to watch a movie, and before the movie starts, they show you all of the scenes from movies that they want you to come back and see. And as you're watching these scenes of the movie, you see different parts of the movie, but it's not the entire movie. They give you enough of the movie to make you want to come and watch the movie. And that's how it is with the book of Proverbs. It's almost like we're following Solomon's life as he's sitting down at the table, and it almost appears that he's having a conversation with his son, and he's trying to prepare his son for life. That's one scene. And then if you follow the movie, you'll see Solomon. It appears like he's walking down the wayside or walking down the road, and he's having a conversation with his son, and he seems to be preparing him for life. And so Solomon, the writer of Proverbs, was a very wise man. Extremely wise. Amen. We learn that people came from all over the world to sit at the feet of Solomon's wisdom because he was just known as a very wise man. But the problem with Solomon was he did not follow his own wisdom. And so that proves it's not what you know that matters, right? It's what you apply. He was a very wise man, but he did not apply his own wisdom. And so in Proverbs chapter 27, verse 12, Solomon starts it this way. He says, the prudent. That's a word that we don't hear a lot today. The word prudent can also be translated wise. And Solomon says, the prudent. Prudent people are people who understand that all of life is connected. They know how to connect the dots, right? Prudent people are people who understand that what they do today will eventually become a part of their past and show up in their future.
All right.
Prudent people learn from their mistakes. And so Solomon says, the prudent. And so here's how prudent people approach decision making. Prudent people say they're faced with two decisions. And they say the way they approach decision making is they say, in light of what I want my life to look like in the future, what is the wise thing for me to do right now? Are you guys with me?
Oh, yeah.
Because they connect the dots, right? They connect the dots. They recognize that what they do right now, the decision that they they make right now has impact with their future or impact upon their future. And so the prudent person always asks the question, what is the wise thing for me to do now? Solomon says the prudent what? See danger. Prudent people see danger. Prudent people are able to look at certain situations and recognize that if I keep going in this direction, danger is going to happen. If I keep going with this relationship, it's not going to end well. If I keep spending my money the way that I'm spending my money, it's not going to end well. Prudent people see danger. Just like you and I, we see danger.
Yes, sir.
I want to show you guys something. Y'all gonna think I'm crazy because we talked about eye boogers last week. Crazy to talk about it in the church. We talked about eye boogers and people were really paying attention to those eye boogers when they looked in the mirror. But you guys know what this is, right?
Del Taco.
This is a Del Taco burrito. Probably one of the most grossest things on the planet. I mean,
Right.
You eat this thing right here, you in trouble.
Yeah,
Right? You can, I mean, just based on your experience that you've had with Del Taco, and all of the experience might not be the same, but we've had some experience with Del Taco or something similar to Del Taco. You can see, you can look at this right here, and you can draw from this the danger that's up ahead. The prudent people, they see danger. The prudent people see danger.
Wow.
And they know when something is going to end bad. Prudent people are willing to open their eyes to things that they don't want to see or believe.
Yeah.
This is important. This is so important. Prudent people are willing to open their eyes to things that they don't want to see or believe.
Teach, God.
And so prudent people see danger. And they take refuge. They see danger and they respond appropriately. The phrase "take refuge" is a Hebrew phrase that explains or demonstrates or gives us a picture of an army scout that goes ahead of the army and recognizes that there is danger ahead, runs back and talks to the general and tells the general that there is danger ahead, and the general provides or prepares for defense, which is the appropriate response to danger. Or a man who is traveling, a traveling man, who looks ahead and he can see danger, and what he does is he goes to higher ground, or he runs towards the hills. And so Solomon, what Solomon is saying to us is that when prudent people see danger, they don't ignore it. They don't act like it does not exist. And sometimes the appropriate response to danger is to shake the spot.
Right.
Yeah, I like that.
See, we've been taught that you fight at all costs. But sometimes the wise thing to do is to run, to flee.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Solomon is saying that when the prudent person sees danger, they recognize that the way that they should respond to this danger is they need to seek refuge.
Right.
That's the prudent person.
Right.
But there's another character in the story. The prudent person, when they see danger, they take refuge. But the simple, this is such an insulting word. The simple, the naive. Some translations in other verses translate this word the stupid.
Right.
But I know some people can't handle direct words like that, and so we're going to use this more softer word. The simple. The simple are people who do not believe that life is connected. Simple people believe that when they do something today, it's isolated from their past, and it's not connected to what shows up in the future. Simple people don't learn from their mistakes or the mistakes of other people. Let me explain the way simple people think. Simple people believe and think that they are the exception.
Right.
That's what happened to you. But things are different now. Things are more modern now. Though times have changed, that's what happened to you, but that's not what's going to happen to me. Simple people believe that what's going on right now is just something that just happened out of nowhere. It has nothing to do with what I did yesterday. It's just something that happened out of nowhere. And simple people kind of have the mentality, woe is me. Simple people, they're not connecting the dots. They don't believe that what's going to happen in the future is connected to what they did today or what they're doing today. And so Solomon says, but the simple keep going.
Right.
You see that? The simple keep going. They keep going. They see the same danger. They're faced with the same type of circumstance. They see the danger, but unlike the prudent person that runs for the hills, unlike the prudent person that takes refuge, the simple keep going. They keep going.
Teach, God.
And this is so important. Look, I'm talking to a group of people because all of us fall prey to this, right? All of us.
Right.
We see the warning signs, we see the danger, and we continue to keep going anyway, right? We think that we're young, we got time to turn things around. But listen to me when I tell you this. If you checked out, I need you to check back in because this is so important. There is a point in time where you and I have gone so far that it's impossible for us to escape the consequences.
Teach.
There's a point in time where we've gone too far. We've ignored all of the warning signs. We've ignored all of the logic, and we've gone too far. And it's impossible for us to escape the consequences because now the feelings are involved. Now we're emotionally attached.
Right.
To that thing that we knew, we seen it. We seen the warning signs, right? We seen the warning signs. What did we do? We seen the warning signs, but we ignored them.
Right.
It says stop. Danger ahead. Wow. But we ignored all of the warning signs. We just kept going, even in the midst of all of the warning signs. Why is that?
All right.
The reason for that, the reason why you and I keep going, the reason why we keep going, even though the warning signs are obvious that if we continue in this direction, we can expect danger. We're going to pay the price. The reason why we keep going and when we're faced with logic, wise people telling us you need to stop, don't go there. The reason why we keep going is because we only hear what we want to hear. We only listen to what we want to listen to.
Right. Tell the truth, Pastor.
I researched this thing.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to know. I wanted to know, why do I continue to eat unhealthy when I see so many people dying from eating unhealthy? I wanted to understand why was I continuing to smoke cigarettes when on the pack of cigarettes it says that it's a chance that you'll get cancer. Well, I wanted to understand, why did I continue in that relationship? Even though it was very obvious that we were not compatible, it was very obvious that this thing was going to end really, really bad, and I kept on doing it anyway. And as I researched this thing, I went to my huge big concordance library called Google. And what I discovered in my concordance library is that people, human beings, the brain has a way of listening to and hearing what it wants to hear. And so I found this phrase called confirmation bias. What is confirmation bias? Confirmation bias is a type of bias that involves favoring information which confirms previously existing beliefs or bias. And so here's what confirmation bias looks like. Confirmation bias sees the burrito. It blocks out that the burrito is going to lead to the toilet paper. And all the mind sees is that it's only 89 cents. And the mind tricks itself into believing that you are a wise steward of God's money because now you are saving money, and it completely blocks out the toilet paper. Confirmation bias. All of us have a narrative that we want to believe. All of us. Every last one of us has a narrative that we want to believe in. The mind is so powerful that it's able to block out things that you really don't want to believe. And so that's why the girl continues in the relationship, even though all signs point to the fact that he is not the right one for you. You don't see that. You see that he's nice, he's handsome. You don't see that he doesn't match up with your dreams and your desires to be a Christian, godly wife that lives financially secure. You're blocking out everything except for what you want to see. It's called confirmation bias. That's what we do with our candidate that we vote for president. Those of you that voted for Barack Obama, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Barack Obama because I think he's great compared to what we have in the White House today. But those of you who voted for Barack Obama, whenever you see news that sheds something bad about Barack Obama, your mind has the ability to completely block that out.
Totally. Right.
Just like the people who voted for Trump. With all of the crazy things that he say on Twitter, all of the crazy things that he does in front of the camera, they don't see that. Confirmation bias. The mind has the ability to block out the things that you don't want to see. And so the simple, they keep going. Look, and what happens? They pay the price. Some translations say they suffer or they pay the penalty. And so again, there's a point in time where you're going too far to turn around. You've gotten, the hooks are in you now, right? The hooks are in you and you trying to get away, but that thing got you pretty good. It has a nice little grip on you. He has a nice little grip on you. The thing that God said you're supposed to have dominion over, it now has dominion over you. And you've gone too far to turn around. Maxed out credit cards. Car payment is 2 months behind. 3-day notice on your door. You've gone too far. You can pray all you want. You can pray all you want, but you've gone too far. There's a point in time we've gone too far where we cannot escape the consequences. Diabetes, hypertension, you're on dialysis. You've gone beyond the warning signs.
Right.
Now you can expect to pay a price. 65 years old is not the time to start saving for retirement.
Right.
It's not. You've gone too far. And so when you gone so far, you've ignored all of the warning signs. Sometimes all of the options that are left are bad ones.
Right.
Do I pay my credit card bills? Or do I pay my car note? Or do I do something about this 3-day notice? Whichever one you choose, you're leaving out some very important ones. Why? Because you ignored the warning signs.
Right.
The prudent see danger and they head for the hills. But the simple keep going and they pay the penalty.
Man.
Real quick, I'm done. Real quick. I want to just a few tad bits, little small minor points that I came up with on the way to church. Prudent people view relationships not on the basis of where they are, but on the basis of where they're going.
Right.
This is important because every relationship is going somewhere.
Yeah.
Every relationship, the relationship that you have with your children, the relationship you have with your coworkers, the relationship you have with the opposite sex is going somewhere. But the simple view relationships on the basis of where they are today, where they are right now.
Right.
Never mind that he's showing signs of being abusive, he just bought your cheeseburger. Are you guys with me? That's how simple people view relationships, right? And that's why we can step back from the situation, void of emotions, and we can see our kids hooking up with someone, and they're constantly talking about what they're doing for them today, but they don't see what we see, where the relationship is really going. Are you guys with me?
Right.
Amen.
And so simple people, they view relationships based on where they are today.
Right.
Prudent people view debt and money and how to handle money as a path with a destination.
Man.
Simple people view debt and money as an event.
Wow.
This is what I feel like doing right now.
Wow.
That's why people get in so much trouble. You know, New Year's resolution. They get in so much trouble because right now I want to go shopping crazy for Christmas. And not only do I want to go shopping crazy for Christmas, but I want to go to the New Year's Eve parties and all of that, right? And don't realize that rent is due on the 1st.
Calm down.
It's an event. This is what I want to do right now. I've been there. I know what it's like.
Man.
You get caught up. Do I want to have fun or do I want to be a responsible adult? That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, right there.
The simple. It's an event. It's something that I can do now. I didn't learn from my last mistake. I didn't learn the last year. It's different this year because I'm making more money this year. And some people think that, because you're making more money, that's what makes the difference.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
I've made tons of money and I blew tons of money.
That's it.
I'm actually doing better today on less money than I did when I had more money. And so it's not about more money if you have the same simple mentality. When it comes to money, because you have more money means that you're going to make a bigger mess.
Right.
Say it, Doc.
So you got to learn how to control yourself. The simple.
Preach, Doc.
And so preparing for what's next. Here's what I want you to understand. It's better to prepare now than to prepare later.
Yeah.
And preparing for what's next, because we don't know what's coming next.
Right.
We can lose a loved one, we can financial ruin. Good things can happen too, but bad things can happen, right? Some things we kind of have an idea of what's going to happen in 2018, but some things are going to catch us by surprise.
Man.
Some things are going to come out of nowhere. And whether it's things that we're expecting or things that we're not expecting, God wants us to be prepared. And so it's better to prepare now than it is to prepare later. One last thing on that note. When you prepare now, it will be better later.
All right.
Yes.
Sir.
Yes.
When you prepare now, it will be better later. And so let's sum it all up. The prudent people, the prudent, see danger and they take refuge and they find safety. The simple keep going
Amen.
and they pay the penalty. And so what we're going to do, look, what we're going to do is we're going to turn that verse into a prayer. And this is a prayer that I want you to pray for the next 358 days. Yep, 358
That's
days.
right.
One time a day, at least one time a day, for the next 358 days. It's the prudent, prepare, prayer. The prudent, prepare, prayer. All right? And here's the prudent, prepare, prayer. Heavenly Father, you know everything. It's your Heavenly Father. He knows everything. You know everything. Help me to see trouble. Not when it gets there.
All right.
Before it arrives. If I was you, I would add to that long before it arrives.
All right.
Help me to see trouble long before it arrives. Give me wisdom to know what to do
Yes. Yes.
before it arrives. I want to be prepared. I don't want to prepare. I want to start preparing when it gets here. Before it arrives, give me wisdom to know what to do. And, see, wisdom is not enough. And the courage to act on the wisdom that you give me.
Amen.
This is important because God He's passing out wisdom. I mean, He's throwing wisdom all over the place. He's giving us wisdom. I mean, we got it. It's not ignorance. It's not ignorance for most of us.
All right.
But the problem is we don't have the courage to act on the wisdom that God gives us because it's unpopular, because it does not feel good. Putting together a budget when you're grinding and you're exercising discipline as you're putting together that budget, that doesn't feel good right then. And so you already know you need to put together a budget. It's not a Christian thing. This is a human thing, a human being thing. As a human being, you need to have a budget.
Yeah.
But putting together a budget takes courage. Because you got to say no to the right now to build yourself a better tomorrow. And so this is the prayer that I want you guys to pray for yourself. For yourself for the next 358 days. But then in addition to praying this prayer for yourself, I want you to pray this prayer for your church. And so all you're going to do is change the pronouns. That's all you're going to do is change the pronouns. Instead of Heavenly Father, you go with Heavenly Father, you know the future. Help us.
Yes.
You said the one about me. This is so important. I'm telling you, I'm convinced that God is going to answer this prayer for you both ways. Help us to see trouble before it arrives. Give us wisdom to know what to do and the courage to act on the wisdom that you give us. It's 300. Simple prayer is going to take you every bit of 2 minutes to pray both of those prayers. But I believe with all of my heart that God is going to answer those prayers for you. It's all of us collectively praying those prayers.